Netflix has another zombie film thrillingly on the way. A terrifying virus breaks out in the city, and those infected turn into bloodthirsty zombies. All the cities have already fallen. Away and his wife, Asian, are driving a van with their 2 sons heading towards the outskirts. From the numerous bloody handprints on the vehicle, it is clear they just went through a fierce battle. The car arrived at Away's father's farm in the countryside. In order to prevent any accidents, Away left his wife and children inside the car. Instead, he took the gun back and also took off his father's Rolex. Just as Away was about to leave, his mother nearby called out to him,
"I'm sorry."
It was obvious that the other person had turned into a zombie, and before Away could do anything, half of his mother's body suddenly fell down.
Sorry.
Sorry. He, left with only half of his body, kept repeating the last words he said when he was alive, then quickly called towards R. The next day, after checking that the water source here was not contaminated, Away decided to settle here with their family of 4. However, his wife, Ai-jen, was clearly a bit unwilling. She always hoped Away would continue north to the survivors' woodland established by a certain major country, but Away had already decided to stay here.
Then she took her eldest son Xiaojie to the storeroom to search for supplies, unexpectedly finding eggs and a hen, but they were all locked in a cage.
Really, come on.
After getting the key, the body suddenly fell down. Fortunately, it did not turn into a zombie, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. With these supplies, the family enjoyed a sumptuous dinner in the evening. At the dinner table, the eldest son expressed support for his mother's idea of continuing north to find a survivor base, but was still decisively rejected by Away. At night, Away was awakened by a nightmare. It turns out there is a basement in this house where he was frequently abused by his father during childhood, and would be locked inside for no reason. The next day, under Ajin's persuasion, Away finally agreed to leave. The family of 4 continued to flee north. The journey was fairly safe without encountering any zombies. However, when they came to a big bridge, they found the only exit ahead was blocked. At this point, Away wanted to turn back, believing there must be a reason for the obstacle ahead. He took out the machete to cut through the barbed wire, but didn't expect the sound of the machete to attract zombies. Seeing his wife in danger, Away hurriedly rushed out of the car. Although one shot blew up the zombie's head, the loud gunshot also attracted other zombies. The eldest son immediately pressed the horn to alert the 2, who then realized and narrowly escaped. But the 2 children in the car were unfortunate, as the horn sound caused them to be surrounded by zombies.
Dad!
Away first stepped forward to kill a zombie, attracting the attention of the zombies, then hurriedly ran back. Ajin took this opportunity to leave with the children. Away's bullets were already depleted. At this time, he saw a grenade on a fallen soldier. He picked up the grenade and ran back, finally creating distance from the zombies after crossing many car roofs. The already battered car couldn't start because of the recent commotion, so the 4 had to walk back to the old house. In fact, the car wasn't broken at all. This was just Away's excuse because he didn't want his wife to continue north. Thus, day by day passed, Away fixed the generator in the basement, and the house not only had electricity, but even the air conditioning could be used.
Air conditioning.
Yes, sir. Centralized?
Gradually, everyone accepted life here, and the wife also lost much of her desire to go north. Just as Ajin was bandaging her wound, their eldest son outside suddenly shouted for them. It turned out he heard human voices on the radio. I don't want to go there and get torn apart by zombies. The next morning, Away took his eldest son to a sugarcane field to teach him how to use a handgun. But little G, being naturally timid, didn't even have the courage to fire. Wei was so angry that he started cursing loudly. Under his compulsion, Xiaojie finally pulled the trigger, hitting the bottle nearby with several shots. But just then, the younger son noticed a group of zombies appearing across the way, obviously attracted by the gunshots. Seeing more zombies approaching them, the four of them were terrified and turned to run towards home, but the zombies followed closely behind. Wei used a box to block the door, and they curled up in the corner, not daring to make a sound. But despite this, the number of zombies outside the door kept increasing. Seeing that the zombies were about to break in, at the critical moment, the sound of a car horn suddenly came from outside. The zombies were instantly attracted by the loudspeaker sound, all turning towards the car, which also started and drove off in another direction. It was not until after dawn that Wei rushed out. He followed the traces all the way to the riverside. It turned out that the person who saved them yesterday was his brother. After talking, he learned that his brother's wife and children had been infected by zombies. Alone, he returned to the old house and happened to save Wei's family. Wei did not thank his brother for saving him, but instead pointed a gun at him. It turned out that years ago, this brother had an affair with his wife, Jen. Although in default circumstances now, Wei's hat could not be taken off. Seeing that Wei had not yet forgiven him, Jiang no longer fled from himself and told Wei that there were indeed survivors in the north.
In order to put an end to his wife's thoughts, he lied and claimed that Jiang was already dead.
I am too late.
Jiang heard these words and didn't say much, but turned away coldly. Clearly, Jiang still has feelings for Xiang, which is exactly why Wei was completely consumed by darkness. Wei used wooden planks to seal all the windows, thinking everything would be fine. But that day, his youngest son went to the basement and found a figure standing by the ventilation window.
Hello.
The figure turned its head to look at the young son after hearing the sound. Unexpectedly, the other party was a zombie. Just as Jiang was holding her little son while staring at a zombie, she didn't know that Wei was quietly standing at the door, seemingly planning some action. Sure enough, the next day, Wei found that old zombie.
He moved too fast. I haven't seen the others. There are so many of them. This is our problem. There are so many of them. Where are they?
Wei's intent is clear. He wants to use this zombie to persuade Jiang against the idea of leaving, thinking this way, it will be foolproof. But when Wei came out of the shower in the evening, he found his eldest son secretly staring at him. It turned out that the map to the north had been discovered. During dinner, Jiang learned about the map and felt deceived by Wei, angrily stating that she would leave tonight. Looking at the furious Argent, he would not allow Jiang to leave with the child. Just as the two were arguing, there was a sudden knock on the door. Wei originally did not want to open it, but Jiang got there first and opened the door. Wei obviously deceived him, so despite Wei's objections, he took in the man.
That's right.
In the evening, the eldest son quietly came to find Jiang. He wanted to leave tonight because he felt his father had completely changed and he could no longer endure his father's control. He wanted to go find his uncle, Qiang. Despite Jiang's reluctance, she still agreed to his departure. By the next day, Wei discovered that his eldest son was missing, and he blamed everything on the man from last night.
Twisted, he was holding a hammer.
When Jiang woke up again, she found herself and her younger son locked in the basement. At this time, the door slowly opened, and Wei appeared, wearing a uniform stripped from a man, holding a plate of freshly cooked meat. Jiang was terrified. After the zombie virus outbreak, they hadn't opened any marriage for a long time. Where did Wei get the meat?
Delicious. So delicious. Try it.
Seeing that Jiang and her son were unwilling to eat, Wei angrily threw the plate to the ground and left without looking back. In the middle of the night, Wei, who was sleeping, was suddenly awakened by a scream. He hurriedly came.